minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. 5 minutes. T-minus for minutes. T-minus 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
How about that? Says Rick Regan. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new week. Get on up inside your favorite daytime sports talk show. I know that it's your favorite because you're here. Coming at you on the Game Plus Television Network. It's a very big day. We got a lot to get to. Mitchell Scruffy Blair joins us to co-host today and tomorrow. We're going to bring him on here in a second. What I will say is this. Mitchell Scruffy Blair, you all know this now because we're getting such favorable responses from the viewers. Scruffy is an elite broadcaster and reporter. That's why he's on this show. You don't get on this show unless you're elite. And when he dropped the bomb about George Springer last week, just so you know, Mitch, I felt a little bad because it's the most viewed. It was like 30,000 views of the Instagram reel of you talking about George Springer. I said, hey, are you okay with taking the heat? You said you were okay with taking the heat, Mitch.
Yep.
And he's still.
By the
hero.
way, I just want to say good morning to the one listener who has said in your Facebook page that she doesn't listen when I'm on. So I just want to say good morning to her. And
come on.
And all the people that commented on the weekly column.
Yeah,
which
at
was
rodpeterson.com. Yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah, Mitch, let's keep it positive. Let's go. He said he could take the heat, so take the heat. Point
Let's go.
one, the big story, World Series, Game 3 tonight. After a travel day, the Blue Jays and Dodgers get after it. Game 3 at Dodger Stadium tonight. Veteran Max Scherzer will be on the mound for the Jays, who split the first two games of the best-of-7 series in Toronto. Righty Tyler Glasnow goes for the Dodgers. Games 3, 4, and 5 will all be at Dodger Stadium. Mitch, here's my take. The Blue Jays out-hit him in Game 1. The Dodgers out-pitched him in Game 2. Who knows where it goes from here? Who's happiest that it's 1-1 coming back to LA? I guess the Dodgers are, or is it the Blue Jays that they showed that they can actually play with them and win this thing?
I think it's the Dodgers, Rod, and I think they know that tonight might be the biggest game of the series because Shohei Ohtani will pitch for the Dodgers tomorrow night, and I would expect Shohei Ohtani to do what he has done every time he has stepped on a mound this year, and that is dominate the opposition. If the Dodgers can win tonight, and they probably have, and this is no disrespect to Tyler Glasnow, they probably have the weakest link of their rotation starting tonight. If the Blue Jays, or if the Dodgers can win with Tyler Glasnow tonight, they will win with Ohtani in Game 4. Toronto will not beat the Dodgers in 3 straight to win that series. So I think tonight is the key game for the Dodgers.
They always say in a best-of-7, Game 3 is the pivotal game, and that's tonight at Dodger Stadium, so that's very exciting. We'll see if Max Scherzer brings the fire that he did in the ALCS in a clutch game against the Seattle Mariners. So that's what's going on there. Just so everybody knows, here's the roadmap. Point 1 is World Series. We're going to get to NFL, CFL playoffs, the NHL weekend, NBA, and Monday Night Football. So we have a lot to go and not a lot of time. Point 2, a couple of notes coming out of Week 8 in the NFL, Scruffy. An erroneous whistle took a defensive touchdown away from the Buccaneers. An early whistle cost the Giants a fumble recovery on a tush push. It was a rough Sunday for NFL officials. Giants coach Brian Daboll was apoplectic after Darius Slayton was penalized for offensive pass interference, taking a 68-yard touchdown off the board in an eventual loss to the Steelers. So bad officiating was part of the story, and then Aaron Rodgers was solid but not spectacular in his first ever game against the Green Bay Packers. The Steelers quarterback passed for 219 and 2 tuds and a 35-25 loss to the Packers in the Sunday Nighter. Aaron Rodgers said he was happy to see some old friends from Green Bay before the game, but after it kicked off, it was all business. Week 8 thoughts in the NFL. It was kind of blah going in, kind of blah coming out. That's what I see. What do you see?
Yeah, a lot of one-sided games this weekend. Who thought that the game of the weekend would be the Jets and the Bengals? Has Zach Taylor been fired yet? He should be. The referee, watching Red Zone yesterday, and they kept going back to some of the plays with that Giants-Eagles game. That was a fumble to me in the tush push. I don't know how you don't call that a fumble. The interference calls, those are so subjective, and we could argue about that in any level of football. But the one that sort of just angered me was the fact that the NFL has lost one of its top players, Cam Scatteraboo, who fractured an ankle on a hip drop tackle, which was banned And nobody talked about that. So, Brian Daboll, I think we all saw the video of him just losing his mind on the Slayton pass interference call. Brian Daboll had a right to be upset yesterday, but it wasn't a banner day for the Stripes yesterday. And I guess you could say that with the CFL as well, because Rider fans are bemoaning the fact, because every time they lose, they bemoan the fact that the refs cost them the game. But they're upset over the fact that Tavon Campbell had a touchdown taken away because of an early whistle. So,
yeah, that happened 5 minutes into the third quarter. So that's where I don't really fit. You're far better at this than me. I think you could debate all day long with fans and pundits about officiating. I don't care. I don't think it's one-sided. Mistakes happen. The refs are never going to admit they made a mistake. So can we all just move on? Whether in the case of the CFL game, which we're up against it for a break here already, but we'll talk about it coming back after the break. I'm just like, thank God that wasn't in a playoff game or in a Super Bowl, because we have had the big calls in the big games. Like Saturday night's game in the CFL was a meaningless game. What did it do? It cost the Riders a 13th victory on the season. But you know what? You weren't playing anybody in terms of your starters. Mm-hmm.
Some will tell you that it cost the playoff seeding because BC probably should be going out east.
But it didn't cost the game. So I know. Right. So that's the whole thing. By the way, you asked me last week. Let me wedge this in here. Breaking news. You asked me last week if Henry Burris would be interested in the Ottawa head coaching job, which at the time it wasn't open. Now it is. Saturday morning, the Red Blacks fired Bob Dice. I talked to Hank this morning from Tallahassee, Florida, where he is the co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach of the Florida A&M Rattlers. Hank's quote, if I can paraphrase, is, I love Ottawa, but the details would have to work. And he said numbers, both financially and then staff. A lot of things would have to work. He goes, Florida A&M has made an investment in Henry, and it's a great situation for him there. He's like, his dad's a politician. Henry will, if he ever wanted to be, could be a politician. He didn't say no. He didn't say yes. And that was kind of what I was expecting, but that was his answer from Henry Burris. By the way, our CFL and NFL picks every week are brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral in Regina, Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. On the way, more NFL, but also CFL playoffs, NHL, Monday Night Football. This is what I like to call the Canadian Hour, and I got a good Canuck with me. By the way, Jersey Jim Biringer coming up. Guess where he's from? Jersey Jim coming up an hour or two from NHL Full Press and NHLRumors.com to talk NFL, NHL, and more, and some college football. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
All right, welcome back, everybody, on this Monday RP show. I see news out of Saskatchewan today. I didn't even know they were having a news conference that Saskatchewan has been awarded the 2027 host city for the Grey Cup. Mitch, I don't know if you knew they were having a news conference, but Stuart Johnston speaking right now, the CFL commissioner. Grey Cup back to Mosaic Stadium in 2027. Dean is watching in Green Bay. He says, good morning, RP fam. Great day. Packers beat the Steelers. Don Cherry awarded a Royal Coronation Medal, and the Blue Jays are looking to beat the Dodgers tonight. Hashtag Go Jays. Hashtag is want it all. But what's the Don Cherry Award? Did you see Don Cherry getting a medal? I didn't. I mean, I'm sure
First
he
time hearing of it.
Okay, first you
First
heard
time
of
hearing
it.
of it.
Times two. Okay, and might as well sneak this in here as well for the Mad Greek Eatery, our junior hockey report. Congratulations, Mark O'Leary, for becoming the Moose Jaw Warriors all-time leader in games coached, 361. He did it Friday night in a 4-2 victory over the Lethbridge Hurricanes in the Rempel Temple. From classic to loaded, pizza night starts at the Mad Greek Eatery. Order online, pick up, or dine in at themadgreekeatery.com. In Moose Jaw. Okay, Scruffy, we go fast. As you know, buckle up, everybody. Don't get whiplash. The CFL playoffs are at hand. In the Eastern semifinal this Saturday, it's Winnipeg and Montreal. And then in the Western that's the Eastern semifinal, Bombers are crossing over. In the West, it's the Calgary Stampeders at the BC Lions. What you thinking?
The Winnipeg-Montreal game really interests me. The Alouettes are a different team with Davis Alexander under center, and Davis Alexander hasn't lost a regular season game. This is the playoffs, though, and we all know different things can happen in the playoffs. The Bombers, the host team for the Grey Cup, as you know, a team that I think is probably going to be torn apart at the end of this season. You've got a lot of guys that I think came back for one more run. Have they got it in them? I think they can beat Montreal, but I don't know for sure. As far as BC Calgary goes, I think the Lions are playing right now. They might be the best team in the CFL. Being indoors, playing in Calgary, or playing in Vancouver, I just don't see it having a good ending for the Calgary Stampeders. And I know a lot of Rider fans talking to them about who they're going to play in the West Final. They're torn because they know that Calgary dominated them twice this year. And they also know that BC, with that pass offense and that Rider pass defense that hasn't been that great, they're scared about who they're going to play. But I think a lot of them would rather take their chances with Calgary than BC. But I think BC's back here in 2 weeks.
I'm going to continue this all in a second, but we're having some fun here. I said, guess where Jersey Jim is from? Everybody write in with wrong answers only where you think Jersey Jim is from, our Hour 2 guest from NHL Full Press and NHLRumors.com. John in Winnipeg. John says Jersey Jim is from Elbow, Saskatchewan. That's why I was laughing as you say that. Now, hang on. To those games, Mitch, I was paying attention to what you were saying. Are the Rough Riders going in with a check engine light on? They didn't dress their kicker Saturday night in Brett Lather. You mentioned the pass defense concerns. There's some injuries there. For a 12-6 team going in, and let's be honest, if they really wanted to, they could have been in 14-4, right? They didn't even try their last two games. They could have easily have been 14-4. This is potentially the best Rough Riders team ever, which is shocking because I can't name 5 of them.
No,
that's a discussion you and
Don't start that. The 2013 team was the best team they've ever had.
They could have been 14-4, Mitch. I'm just going by the record.
I don't care, Roddy. 2013 was the best team they've ever had.
If you really want to go down that road, the 2009 team, which lost the Grey Cup, might have been the best Rough Riders team ever.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, interesting to have Mark Trestman on here the other day talking about that. But listen, I don't agree that this is the best Rider team ever. What I'm saying is they could have won 14 games. That would qualify them as the best team ever, and I don't know any of them. I don't. Who the hell? That's all that I'm saying. That's just the way sports is now. It's not their fault. It's not their problem. It's a me problem. But are they going in with the check engine light on? That's where I started this.
I think that it all depends who you talk to. And, you just talked about it. The fact that, this team did not play its regulars the way they would normally play them in the last 2 games. They didn't play a lot of them in the Winnipeg game. And they were right in both of those games. So the positive people will tell you, yeah, you know what? They can win because their B team held with Winnipeg and BC's A team. Others will tell you that no, they can't because Trevor Harris in the offense did not look crisp, and Trevor Harris did not have the second half that he had in the first half. So we'll see what a week off does for them. And, Roddy, we've had this debate every year with a first-place team. Does the week off help them or hurt them? And in some cases, it's help. In some cases, it's hurt.
Well,
other people bring up Trevor Harris's playoffs. Not great. So we'll see. All I know is this. At the start of the season, I said it was going to be a Hamilton-BC final. I'm not going to change from that right now.
So from the audience, YouTube has changed up how they do things. I don't even know who all these writers. You might have to sign your name, people. It puts up their email address or something, and not their name. MD Woos writes, he says Jersey Jim is from the Isle of Jersey. James Warnicki writes in and says Jersey Jim is from Turtleford, Saskatchewan. No, it's Tuxford. No, I'm joking, everybody. Jeff, the Stamps fans, is proving again what happens when you only listen with half an ear. I'm saying wrong answers only. Where do you think Jersey Jim is from? Cardinal Ryan writes in. He says, Jersey Jim is from Pennsylvania. It's just funny stuff. Rich in Edmonton writes in. He says, Jersey Jim, the pride of Calahoo, Alberta. He's coming up in hour 2, Jersey Jim. And again, breaking news out of the CFL today, which I didn't even know they were holding a news conference. But the Grey Cup in 2027 will be played at Mosaic Stadium in Saskatchewan, by the way. Oh, that's Carlos.
I got wind of that last night, but apparently somebody put it up on an Argos fan page. I said, this is the first I'm hearing of it. And I thought with the rotation it would be a while, but I guess not.
Let's be honest. The commissioner of the CFL, Stuart Johnston, knows where his bread is buttered, and any commissioner that has half a brain would have it in the Saskatchewan every year. What?
This will be the first Grey Cup without a 55-yard line, Roddy.
Don't. He went there. Scruffy, you keep waking up and choosing violence.
It's fact.
Well, I'm not sold they're even going to follow through with that. To be, I'm not joking. I'm not sold that they're going to follow through with that, given the backlash. I guess maybe they have to. I don't know, but I'm enjoying the mood of everybody today on this Monday. Let's keep it up, everybody. I like it. It's a positive, fun vibe. Arlen Bruce writes in, says, great morning, RP. The best Winnipeg Blue Bombers team was 2001 at 14-4 and no Grey Cup that year. I know. I watched on the sidelines at Olympic Stadium as they lost to Les Calgary Stampeders.
We were both there.
So heartbreaking for the Peg that year. On betting, you couldn't pay me $1 million to drop a pass. Oh, well, by the way, yeah, I guess I didn't talk to you because it happened later in the week on the Chauncey Billups thing and the Terry Rozier thing of the Heat. All the media that I'm watching here are saying that it makes the NBA look bad. I don't think it makes the NBA look bad, but I'll tell you what, I'm just glad that I don't bet. Do you? And if you're uncomfortable answering it, don't. But
I bet all the time. I write
Okay.
for some sites in the U.S., so.
Okay, no, that's fine. It's just I'm watching a game last night. I watched so many games, can't remember what, but it was like Matthew Berry's best pick. You know, who's calling you, Mitch?
I don't know, Roddy, and my phone's where. Just hold on. Keep talking.
Woohoo! How do you like us so far?
All right, sorry. Live television.
Producer Corey just said we are the realest show on television. Are we ever? Who was it that was calling you?
It was someone from the University of Regina.
Okay, yeah. You probably didn't pay a parking ticket there or something scruffy. But anyways,
well, maybe.
It was Matthew Berry's best pick. It was obviously a college game. It must have been Saturday night. And I'm just like, why is it okay for them? Because when you're on the air, you're kind of all part of it. You know, I don't know. It's confusing for everybody. In the NHL on TNT, you got Biz's best bets. Do you see that? And I kind of go, it's not a real long leap to say here's the head coach's best picks. I know the Chauncey Billups thing is that's all totally different, right? That's the illegal poker ring with the mafia.
Yep.
But oh my God. Do you think that yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was talking with some people about this on the weekend. And, you know, I guess you can nitpick the argument any way you want. But when it comes to things like who's going to get the first touchdown, the point spread, stuff like that, I think you can be fine with that. Now, you know, I guess you could make the argument that maybe, and I'll just say this for whatever, that Patrick Mahomes would be forcing a pass into Travis Kelce, or Aaron Rodgers would be trying to force a pass into DK Metcalf. Where this seems to be going is on the over-under line, because guys are all of a sudden pulling themselves when a prop bet is made. They pull themselves with injury. People have made bets on the under. So maybe we should get rid of the over-under player props, and if so, maybe just make it an over, so that, you know, you can't say so-and-so is going to get 6.5 rebounds over-under. Is he going to get over 6.5 rebounds? I don't know, but I know that gambling isn't going away because it's a big thing in professional sport, and I know that the big leagues came out this week and said that, you know, that they're continue to do things to try and prevent this. So yeah, that's where we go.
Well, I was going to ask the question, do you think the sports leagues regret opening the door to gambling? But then I stopped because I'm like, of course they don't. It's the biggest revenue generator that they have right now. So of course they don't. But it's like you say, well, this is okay, but that's not. Who gets to draw the line? And you kind of wonder how the players could get a little bit confused. And now you got the NCAA dropping the rule that, oh yeah, our athletes can bet on pro games. They just can't bet on college games. How about you don't bet at all? Like, oh my God.
I don't know, but here's the other thing as well. And yes, Chauncey Billups is a head coach in a major professional sports league. Terry Rozier is not an A-list player.
No.
The guy with the Raptors that started this, he was not an A-list player. He might not even been a B or C-list player. If you start getting some big names in the sport that are currently playing in the sport, if you find that they've got their hands in the cookie jar, then we've got a major problem. But I don't think that's happening.
Well,
at least I hope it's not.
As they say,
Right.
yet. Okay. We'll continue the talk. And Allie from Texarkana, she showed up and she says, this is the realest and best show. Thank you, Allie. I agree. And you did show up at a perfect time because we're going to talk hockey when we come back, plus all of everything else that we're talking about. And I wonder now, Mitchell, if the heat index for coaching firings is warmed up a little bit. Was it just last week you said, let's not talk about NHL coach firings till they turn the water up, the heat? It's a little hot now. Jersey Jim Biringer is coming up in hour 2. Jersey Jim, I want to know, do you know where Jersey Jim is from, everybody? Wrong answers only. Let us know, 902-518-3033, Western Dodge text line, or the YouTube chat. And we will be right back in a moment. It's the RP Show on a Monday, episode number 1604. You're enjoying it on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube Live, podcast, and Mission Radio.
Country's hottest party is coming. James Barker Band, Bud Light Buckle Up Tour 2025. Live across Canada with special guests Ryan and Rory. November 20th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at zasktix.ca. James Barker Band Live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
sometimes I wish we had more time because we don't have enough time. John writes in and he says, there's always been cheating in sports. The gambling just proves it. And I want to dispel what's wrong with that, but it's so gross to talk about. I want to get to the NHL right now. That's why a lot of people came here. And I'll address the other later. But Mitchell is a big hockey fan. Point 4 of our Quick Six Show topics. Dylan Genther broke a tie with 5:36 to go, and the Utah Mammoth won their 7th straight NHL game, beating the Winnipeg Jets 3-2 Sunday. They look like the 85 Oilers. I don't know what the hell's going on with the Utah Mammoth, but they need to slow down. Kiefer Sherwood's second goal of the game, scored at 1:42 of overtime, lifted the Canucks to a 4-3 victory over the Edmonton Oilers. Blake Coleman scored twice. Nazem Kadri had a goal and a helper, and the Calgary Flames snapped an 8-game slide, beating the Rangers 5-1 Sunday night in the Saddle Dome. And Nikita Kucherov scored 33 seconds into overtime, and Tampa Bay beat Vegas 2-1. Before I get your take coming out of the weekend of your NHL games, Mitch, I was standing beside Paul Maurice Saturday night. He said Jack Eichel might be the best player in the NHL right now. Frankly, I think Paul Mo was a victim of recency bias. He just played him. Right, but that's the poll question today. Who's the best player in the NHL for EMJ Marketing? Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Jack Eichel, or other? To me, it's still Connor McDavid. But that was what Paul Maurice said. Eichel's the best player might possibly be the best player in the NHL, but I'm guessing you'll vote for 98.
For 98?
97, sorry.
Yeah.
97.
Yeah, to me, Connor McDavid's still the best player in the NHL.
Yeah.
Jack Eichel has had a tremendous start to the season, and Mitch Marner is obviously a big reason for that. By the way, what's Austin Matthews doing in Toronto?
Making $15 million.
There are so many good players, Roddy. And I was looking at the score. In fact, they brought it up last night. I watched that Utah-Winnipeg game yesterday. Took a break from NFL to watch that, and that Utah team, boy, are they good. They've come out the gates flying. And Dan Robertson said Nick Schmaltz is the NHL co-leader in points. And I'm like, what? I had to go to NHL.com because I thought he made a mistake when he said that. Nick Schmaltz is right up there as far as the league leader in points. Now, I don't think that'll continue as the season goes along, but that Utah team, and I told you that a couple of weeks ago, they're really good.
I know, but who the hell are they? Like Dylan Genther, we know. We watched him at Edmonton and Junior. Barrett Hayton, we watched with the World Juniors. Like, we kind of know who they are. But is that, like, it's hard to keep the band together for as long as Utah has. I just thought they'd be spinning their wheels forever. And by the way, we're only 10 games into the season. That's why I had that poll question last week, which you were part of the show. Or maybe you weren't. I think it was Thursday. I'm like, which of these trends is for real? Flames sliding, the hot Habs, the Blackhawks reborn, and this Utah thing. What's the story of the year through the first 10 games? It's got to be Utah.
I would say so. And, I think some people thought that, because let's remember, the Utah Mammoth are the old Arizona Coyotes, which used to be the old Winnipeg Jets, which, never mind. But I think a lot of people sort of could see this coming when they were in Arizona. But the fact they just couldn't get things settled there had people thinking that Ryan Smith was sitting in a gold mine when he bought the Coyotes from the NHL. And now we're seeing the early benefits of that. And we've seen that he's an owner that's willing to spend some money. I know that there was some talk that Mitch Marner might end up in Utah because they were ready to throw the checkbook at him. They don't need Mitch Marner right now. No. And I don't know what they've got for cap space, but you would think they're just going to get better.
For their sake, I hope so, but I feel bad for Arizona. the state, the city of Phoenix, they sucked forever. 30 years they sucked in Arizona. Now they go to Utah, they're the story of the NHL. Like, what the hell? Maybe it's an Arizona thing. By the way, what do you guys think this is? That we're a jukebox that you can just write in and talk to Scruffy? Arlen Bruce writes in and says, hey, Mr. Scruffy. Which, by the way, of all the people lighting your ass on fire, Mitch, in our Facebook page, one of them was Greg Zahn. He did it very respectfully, but if you go in and look, he's got a burner account, but it's his photo on it. And he said, hey, tell Scruff, it was not rude like the rest of everybody else, but it was something about your take on George Springer. But anyways, Arlen Bruce writes in, he says, hey, Mr. Scruffy, do you think the Blue Jays can win the 2025 World Series, or are you anti-Blue Jays, my guy? Also, who will play the Lions in the Grey Cup? Arlen Bruce is just stirring it with a canoe paddle here, stirring it up here.
Well, do I think they can? Yeah, because they're the only team that can beat the Dodgers.
Well, there
we're
you
in the
go.
World Series. We've only got 2 teams left, Arlen. Like, hello?
Mr. Scruffy.
And B, if you were watching, and obviously you weren't, I just said, my pick is the BC Lions and the Hamilton Tiger Cats, which I made at the start of the season. So who can beat BC? Well, Hamilton.
Yeah, AB's had some concussions. Arlen. He's had some concussions. He knows that. So thanks for playing. Anyways, so we got largely through the hockey thing. I got a lot of things that I want to talk to about. And we can do that after you leave. But John says cheating has always been a part of sports. The gambling just proves it. They're completely separate. Like back to that 2017 Astros-Dodgers thing, that had nothing to do with betting at all. That all had to do with winning. And, you and I didn't spend enough time on that last week, really. I was stunned that people didn't remember it. Like, I'm not the biggest baseball guy, but I knew everything about it. But let me digress. That changed sports, Mitch, in my eyes. I'll just speak for myself forever. In that, even though those players and coach and GM lost their jobs, it showed that you can cheat in sports because the Astros never had the World Series taken away. And I'm sure you agree. If MLB was really serious about this, they would have awarded it to the Dodgers. That proved to every team in every sport at every level that you can cheat and get away with it.
And that was my point, Rod. I would have had zero problem if Rob Manfred, who I think is the most gutless commissioner in sports amongst the major leagues, if he had taken the World Series away from the Houston Astros and awarded it to the Dodgers, or just said nobody wins, I'd have been fine with that. If he'd have said, after the players, and he gave them immunity, but I don't think he should have done that. If he'd have come out and said, okay, AJ Hinch, Jeff Luhnow, you're suspended for a year, as are Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, George Springer, and Carlos Correa, you know what? Fine. Because then it would have been up to baseball to police what the future of those guys were. AJ Hinch ended up being in Detroit. Let's take nothing away from the 4 players I just mentioned. They're all very good players. But when you look back at the steroid scandal, did Mark McGuire, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Roger Clemens, did they continue to find employment? No, teams didn't want to touch them. So it would have been up to the teams.
Sure, but their records all still stood, and they've been barred from the Hall of Fame.
Right, exactly.
But do you not think the Astros should have had the World Series stripped? That would have been, that would have sent the message.
I really do. And you know what? If you suspend those 4 guys, and say what you will, their legacies have been tarnished.
Right.
The best out of the 4 players is Jose Altuve. I don't think he's going to the Hall of Fame because of this.
Of course. No. You're right. But they still have the ring. They still have the World Series.
Yep.
So what do they really care? McGuire, Sosa, those guys don't have a championship. By the way, Arlen has responded and says, good job, Mr. Scruffy. Just a friendly Canadian conversation, fam. That's from AB. And no, I'm not trying to be like Tony Kornheiser, Mitch. There's just a flag store down the street, and I try to make this very clear to everybody. Hour 1 is Canadian sports. Hour 2 is U.S. sports for those that don't get it, and it seems to be going along very well. Henry Burris just texted me. I got to turn my notifications off. Not watch your toes, Mitch. I'm going to drop a name here, but Henry goes, are you trying to start a Rumorville up there? You started it, Mitch. You started it, not me. Jeff in Toronto writes, and he says, Goodell should have done the same with the Patsies after Spygate. Well, they suspended Tom for Deflategate, and he's still the biggest thing in the NFL. If that doesn't, it just proves it depends who you are. It's different rules for different people. And I've benefited that. So
the player got suspended.
30 seconds on
Tom Brady ended up getting suspended. With the Astros situation, the players didn't get suspended. And that just had so many baseball people, and I'm one of them, just going like, why are you offering these guys immunity? But whatever. That's
Mitchell.
under the carpet now.
Mitchell, get on with your day. Great job.
Talk to you later.
We'll be right back on Game Plus right after this.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Big day, big day. Game 3 of the World Series goes tonight. Should be big fun from Dodger Stadium. 1-1 is this series. That was our first of the show topics today. The quick 6. You are all realizing now with Mitchell Scruffy Blair that he is like Herschel Walker. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. And even that is a full-time job. But he does a great job. Coming up in hour 2, Jersey Jim. And we're having fun with saying, where's Jersey Jim from? Any guesses? Balgonie's Jim Wagner writes in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, Jersey Jim hails from, if I can read the card correctly, Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. I'll say this about Jersey Jim. Comes with his own set of challenges, but different than Scruffy's. And he came and stayed with me here for a couple of weeks ago. That guy works like a slave. Jersey Jim. It's interesting when you see somebody work, and he is the man behind NHL Full Press, NHLRumors.com, Jersey Jim. Well, Scruffy's a worker too. Jersey Jim is a worker. They're workers, and that's why we bring them on the show. That's why we love them. Jersey Jim's dropped an article today about Nazem Kadri, speculation of trade rumors in the NHL with the Calgary Flames. We got a lot to get to with Jersey Jim, and we can also talk Jets and Giants. By the way, he's from Jersey. It's just fun. It's just fun to talk about. Don't troll, everybody. Don't troll, please. Kirk in Toronto writes in and he says, "Hi, Rod. How about those Cowboys?" You'll notice, I'm sorry to be a buzzkill for you all, but I told you a year or two ago, I'm not going to allow the Dallas Cowboys to affect my mood. It's a thing in the recovery world we talk about. It's detachment. I'm detached from the Dallas Cowboys. So I watched the game, but I'm not allowing what they do to affect my mood. It really works, folks. You should look it up if you really care and you're tired of your team affecting your mood. So last week, when they were popping champagne in Jerry World over motorboated Marcus Mariota and the Washington Commanders, I didn't care. You won to go to 3-3-1. Congratulations. Then you go to Denver and crap yourselves. Life as a Dallas Cowboys fan. So you can't get me, Kirk. I don't have feelings. Laverne in Speedy Crick writes in. He says, "I agree with Scruffy. Gambling is definitely not going away. Too much money being made. But there needs to be some fine-tuning done." Well, that's a whole topic for another day. But I should tell you that the text line is brought to you by Western Dodge. Experience the Western Dodge difference. Local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. History repeats itself. So just so you know, as I'm in recovery from addiction 10 years, okay? And I never had a gambling problem. I just don't do it because I know me. So I don't want to start. But when the sports leagues brought in all the beer sponsors, which they still are, 1 in 10 people will have issues with alcohol. 1 in 10 people will have an issue with gambling. The people that are making these rules with the leagues don't know about addiction. They don't know the numbers. And the fact of the matter is they don't care. So immediately when I see Chauncey Billups getting in trouble, Terry Rozier, or any of these other players, Shane Pinto, I'm like, maybe they have a problem. I don't know if they do or not, but I'm like, can we sit these guys down? Have they been warned? That's all. So I think there's a way around it. The point is you didn't get rid of the beer sponsors, even though there's alcoholics and addicts in the league. That's what the player assistance program is for. They're not going to get rid of the betting sponsors either, but what's happening is if a player or a coach gets in trouble, they're just going to flush him down the toilet and say, bye-bye. That's just the world that we live in. And I'm the guy that doesn't give up on people because I don't think people are discardable, but the sports leagues do. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk again for free. Paul writes in, he is in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and he says, perhaps Scruffy was right. Don't ever say that again. He says, perhaps Scruffy was right with his viewpoint. Saskatchewan does not want to face BC in the West Final. Jim Barker and I said that on Friday. Don't be giving Scruffy too much credit on that. We all said BC is the team Sask doesn't want to face. I guess we're about to find out, aren't we? Over the next couple of weeks. Tony writes in from Saskatoon. He says, good morning, Rod and gang. Saturday morning, I would have said that I had more confidence in the Blue Jays to win the World Series over the Riders winning the Grey Cup, but I saw enough good things in the first half Saturday to maybe rethink that logic. Go both teams. Thank you, Tony. You are a good man. Sports updates brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone, your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. Sad story here. Adrian Pedersen has been arrested in suburban Houston on charges of driving while intoxicated and unlawfully carrying a weapon. It's the second drunk driving arrest in 7 months for the former NFL MVP and 3-time rushing champion. LSU has fired Coach Brian Kelly during the 4th season of a 10-year contract worth $100 million. The move announced by Athletic Director Scott Woodward Sunday night comes on the heels of a 49-25 loss to number 3 Texas A&M in Tiger Stadium a night earlier. That was the Tigers' second straight loss and third in 4 games. Brian Kelly was hired away from Notre Dame following the 2021 season. We'll get into that with Jersey Jim next hour because his thing is, Jersey Jim's, is NHL, NFL, college football. He can talk on a variety of things, but that's his jam. And Jersey Jim, is one of many people that saw this Brian Kelly firing coming. That is your sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store Moose Jaw. Get your game day gear in store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. Wow, was that not the fastest hour we've ever had? It feels that way to me. Arlen Bruce says, RP, I hope two-time Grey Cup champion, former Kansas City Chiefs, says, RP, I hope one of my favorite teams do their thing tonight. Talking about the Chiefs, Monday Night Football. We'll be looking ahead to that next hour. They got the Washington Commanders in there. This one should be laughable. I didn't even look at the point spread, although on Friday we did it. What was it? As of Friday, it was 11.5 for the Chiefs. So the question is, do the Chiefs cover? It's not who wins tonight. Brent writes in from Wellington, Florida. He says, Jersey Jim from New York? No. Wrong answers only. Where's Jersey Jim from, everybody? It's just funny because his stay with me intersected with Mike Lee's stay from me, the landman from Mydale, Saskatchewan. So when I was introducing them, and we took the cruise together, Brent, I feel like I invited you. We took the cruise together off the coast of Fort Lauderdale. And I said, hey, this is Jersey Jim. Mike, guess where he's from? Mike goes, Kansas? That's where I got this whole twisted idea from. Oh, boy. We're having fun here. It's all jokes, but it's not if you're a Flames fan. I understand that. Jeff the Stamps fan writes in. He says, it's time for the Flames to make that trade. I assume you're talking about Nazem Kadri, as we were discussing earlier. As Jersey Jim said, go read his article, which I did. He's like, if you trade Kadri, what exactly are you doing? You're giving up the very little offense that you have. This Flames thing is very disturbing to me because I don't see any way out of it. And as much as I'm Joe positive, believe me, I am. Maybe that 96-point season last year was a fluke. I guess back to what I was saying earlier, when Jersey Jim was staying with me and I saw how hard he worked, I'm like, oh my God. He's always working the phones, working the contacts. He's got all the scoops. He does a really good job, Jersey Jim. He was the one that first reported Jacob Markstrom was going to be heading to New Jersey, and then it happened. And it reminded I was breaking news myself. I know how to do it. CFL's Ottawa Redblacks fire their head coach Saturday, Bob Dice. This morning, I shoot a text to Henry Burris up there in Tallahassee. Said, Hank, would you be interested? He's currently the quarterback's coach and co-offensive coordinator at Florida A&M. Within seconds, he writes me back with an answer. I posted to social media. Here's what Henry Burris has to say. Go to rodpeterson.com because let's be honest, it's still the OG. rodpeterson.com is around before Facebook. So, yeah. You want to know what Henry has to say about it? Go to rodpeterson.com. You know what? It's funny. Allie in Texarkana writes in. She says, I don't think Jim ever sleeps. Honey, do you have that right? I come home from Saturday night's game, the Golden Knights and the Panthers, open my Twitter, and they're doing a post-game show with Jersey Jim. I'm like, what the hell? And the Cats and Rats podcast. Jersey Jim never sleeps. He'll be with us next hour from Jersey. That's where he's from. I like this. Monty in Saskatoon wrote it. He says he's not from Saskatoon. Vancouver Eric writes in. He says Trestman to Ottawa, please. Knowing what I know about Mark Trestman, he'd take their call. There are so many football guys sitting down here in Florida just waiting by the phone. Henry's one, Trestman's another. I could name many if you want. Jersey Jim from Climax, Saskatchewan. Says, who the hell said that? Oh, John Ohm. He's having fun with the joke. Bomber Boy, don't be a jerk. Plus, you're a Winnipeg Jets fan. You might be the most screwed up person. Your name's Bomber Boy, but you live in Calgary, and all you do is troll the Calgary sports teams, but you live there. And today you're trolling me, but I'm not going to let you get inside. This has been fast. We'll redo it all coming up next hour, but we'll go across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Got some good Golden Knights stories. I saw my boys from the Golden Knights here on Saturday night, so we'll do that. And plus across Canada and 32 U.S. states here on Game Plus TV. Stick around, everybody. We will be right back.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the Rod Pedersen Show, coming at you, as always, across the Game Plus Television Network and also the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across the beautiful state of Nevada, the Silver State. It's just me, your boy RP, here in the opening segment, and We got Jersey Jim Biringer coming up in the second segment from NHL Full Press and NHLRumors.com. He's just texting me now. He's all excited, ready to go on. Our show is on his television round the clock there in New Jersey, one of the 32 states, the Garden State, where Game Plus is carried. But again, we're on in Nevada, and we're ready to rock and roll on this Monday with episode number 1604. We open with the quick six show topics like we do every day. The big story for us, I found it's not that big of a story across America, but it's the fact that the World Series hits Game 3 after a travel day. The Toronto Blue Jays and LA Dodgers resume their World Series showdown tonight, this time at Dodger Stadium. Veteran Max Scherzer will be on the mound for the Jays, who split the first games on the weekend, the first two at Toronto. Righty Tyler Glasnow will start for Los Angeles, who will host the next 3 games of the Fall Classic at Dodger Stadium. We are in the sports equinox, where we have the MLB, NL, NHL, NFL, NBA all playing. Okay, so I know everybody's focus is everywhere. So we're not going to sit here for the next hour and talk about one thing. But can you at least understand that all of Canada's on fire with the Blue Jays in the World Series, and the fact that they won on Friday night, which I had the great pleasure of watching? So the Blue Jays out-hit them Friday night by a large margin, and then were out-pitched on Saturday. Interesting, Yoshinobu Yamamoto going the complete game for the Dodgers, and his skipper, Dave Roberts, saying afterwards, he could still be pitching. He's just the first pitcher since Curt Schilling in 2001 to pitch back-to-back complete game victories. And back in 2001, Curt Schilling did it 3 straight games. Anyways, tonight it's Scherzer versus Glasnow. I'm not going to sit here and break it all down for you. I'm not the baseball guy, but I'm enjoying the series immensely. Kind of surprised the Blue Jays are as alive to the point that they are. Pivotal game tonight, Game 3, 8 p.m. on Fox. Moving on, Week 8 in the NFL was as pasty as we thought it would be. One of the stories coming out is officiating. An erroneous whistle took a defensive touchdown away from the Buccaneers. Thankfully, they still won. An early whistle cost the Giants a fumble recovery on a tush push. It was a rough Sunday for NFL officials. Giants coach Brian Daboll was inconsolable after Darius Slayton was penalized for offensive pass interference, negating a 68-yard touchdown catch in the fourth quarter of a 38-20 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to get more into that when Jersey Jim joins us next. We had fun way back in the springtime saying who's going to have more wins between the Giants and the Jets. And for a while, it looked like the Giants were going to run away with that. But then the Jets come off the mat and they win a big one over Cincinnati for their first of the season on Sunday. So, I mean, I'm slowly getting there. I don't think a lot of people will ever get there. And that is, hold your horses. Don't make any conclusions, especially over the first half of a season, let alone the first 10th of a season like we're doing in the NHL. Maybe the Jets will end up with more wins. Neither one of them are going to the playoffs. But it's been fun. And the Sunday nighter, Aaron Rodgers, was solid but not spectacular in his first ever game against his former team, the Green Bay Packers. The Steelers quarterback passed for 219 and 2 tuds and a 35-25 loss to the team he won 4 MVPs in a Super Bowl with earlier in his career, and you probably watched all the coverage about it and the news conferences themselves. Aaron said he was happy to see some old friends from Green Bay, but once the ball was kicked off, it was all business. Again, it was like a pasty Week 8 in the NFL that ends tonight with Washington at Kansas City. Not a real exciting game, but I'll say it again, and I'm dying to get to the NHL talk because that is our focus most days here on the RP Show on both networks, on our TV partners in Canada on Game Plus and in the States on Game Plus, but also the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Our NFL picks, we're pretty right on. Brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Pump Jack's Cathedral and Pump Jack's Weyburn. I will say I wrote some notes down here. Number one, from listening to Mike Florio, brought up the Bears' social media trolling the Baltimore Ravens in advance of Sunday's game, and then the Ravens coming back to beat them, and how it could have been used as motivation by the Ravens, what their opponent, the Chicago Bears, put on their social media. And here's the thing. Florio was right. The fans don't understand. Shoot, team staffs don't understand what teams will use for motivation. If it's some cheeky little Instagram post meant to poke, especially going into a game. You wouldn't believe the friction that occurs between the operations, the hockey staff, the football staff, the baseball staff, and the office staff. An unbelievable amount. And when I was hearing this story about, like, I don't know that the Bears' social media, Instagram, enraged the Ravens, but it could have. It reminded me, all my stories go back to my days in Canadian sports, but it was when I was with the Raiders hockey team, and Wendell Clark's brother, Don, was our coach. And I think we were playing the Blades, and we were routing them. And with a minute to go in the game, Martin Ring, the organist, is playing na 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 hey hey on the organ. Donnie Clark came off the bench all the way around the rink, up into the press box, grabbed the music on. Don't you ever play that again. And it wasn't so much. It was like the scene from Slapshot, Reggie Dunlop. And it wasn't so much about giving motivation to the Blades. It was about being sportsmanlike. But after that, with Donnie Clark as our coach, we never played the goodbye song in the arena. And back in the days, it was played on the organ. But it's the one right hand doesn't usually know what the left hand's doing ever. Whether it's the Western Hockey League or the National Football League. It just doesn't happen. What are you going to do? Bring in the coach, Ben Johnson of the Bears, and go, are you okay with this post if we send it out? It would be nice if they did, but they never do. Moving on to point 3 of the Quick Six show, because the Golden Knights were just in town this weekend. Rolling. They were doing a southern tour through Florida. And before I look back to that, I'll tell you there are 2 games on the NHL slate tonight. One's in the nation's capital. The Ottawa Senators welcome the Boston Bruins as they look to stretch their win streak to 3. Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Penguins entertain the slumping St. Louis Blues, losers of 2 straight. Before, I should not have opened up the comments from the viewers, which I just did at my own peril. But I'll say this about the Vegas Golden Knights. They lost 3-0 at the Panthers on Saturday night and then lost 2-1 in overtime at Tampa Bay on Sunday. I was a little surprised that they didn't put up more of a fight. I did my top 5, bottom 5 NHL teams last week, had Vegas at number 1, and I can't put them at number 1 now after what I saw on the weekend. But Paul Maurice, the coach of the Panthers, I was standing right beside him in the postgame. He said that Jack Eichel, he goes, my goodness, what a powerful center iceman. He's possibly the best player in the NHL right now. And so that spawned our poll today for EMJ Marketing. Inspire and grow with EMJ Marketing's comprehensive speaker and business marketing services. Find out more at emjmarketing.com. Who is the best player in the NHL right now? Your options are Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Jack Eichel, because Paul Maurice seems to feel that way, or other. And it's interesting because the girl, Gabby, that hosts, she's the in-arena announcer before the game. She's previewing the game. She's saying, Jack Eichel's here. He's the NHL leader in scoring. He could be the best player in the NHL. I'm like, pfft. And then Paul Maurice said the exact same thing after. I'm like, maybe Gabby knows what she's talking about. But I still wouldn't vote for Jack Eichel. I voted for Connor McDavid, and you can vote for it on Twitter, or if you are watching on YouTube, you can vote there as well. Let me see what the results of the polls are. Results of the vote are, easy for you to say, Rod. 67% say it's Connor McDavid, like me. I'm sitting there going, I think Paul Maurice was a prisoner of the moment or suffering from recency bias because he just played Jack Eichel. Yeah, that guy's all world, but he didn't hit the score sheet. It's not saying that Jack Eichel's not all that, but he's not Connor McDavid. I'm like, Pomo, did you forget what McDavid did the last 2 Stanley Cup finals? 67% say Connor McDavid, 21% say Nathan McKinnon, 8% say other, and only 4% say Jack Eichel of the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, that might be a little harsh. Yeah, we're talking about some really good players. Last hour on the Game Plus only portion of the broadcast, Scruffy said that. There's a lot of great players in the league. Vegas has a lot of great players. My goodness. I'm sitting there watching Mitch Marner. William Karlsson's awesome. I mentioned Marner, Eichel, Thomas Hurdle, who really didn't do a thing. I went down in the third period to watch with my friend Brent and his boy RJ, and he's like, what'd you think of Hurdle? I'm like, he's playing? So he didn't do much. But none of Vegas did much over the week. They scored 1 goal in 2 games. But I saw the Golden Knights staff, saw all that I wanted to, and that was by far the highlight of the weekend. Jeff in Toronto writes in, he says, Austin Matthews. I'll say, what about him? But I know what you're saying. Brent from Wellington, Florida says, go, Pack, go. Well, they might end up in the Super Bowl. And who would it be against? The Indianapolis Colts? What were we saying earlier? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Now, with the Packers, you're a fan, and they've been great. From pillar to post, from opening night, right? They kicked Detroit's ass. I was with you, Brent. And they just keep winning. I wonder how they'd be without Micah Parsons, which, by the way, somebody wrote in earlier and trolled about the Cowboys. And you can't get me if you're going to troll about the Cowboys because I've detached from them. Look it up. It's a recovery term. I'll still pay attention to what you're doing, but I'm not going to allow your actions to affect my feelings. It's a perfect way to deal with the Dallas Cowboys. Bomber Boy writes in, he says, Jordan Love and the Packers will be your 2026 Super Bowl champions. We'll see. We'll see. I just, hopefully that result from Sunday night puts all this Aaron Rodgers, Packers, Jordan Love drama behind us and we don't need to deal with it again. Like, I don't, Aaron Rodgers seems like a real nice guy. I've never met him. Everybody that knows him, that I know, loves him. His former teammates, Torrey Gurley, John Ryan. So I'm not going to pass any judgment on the guy unless I got to know him. But I just don't like the fact that he got all butthurt when they drafted Jordan Love. We've been over that. It's 11 minutes after the hour. Expect positive. What do you got to lose? I was speaking about that with my advisor this morning, Lisa. She's like, we don't think that way. We weren't talking about Aaron Rodgers. We were talking about other people. But I'll never get where Aaron Rodgers is coming from. If Joe 747 Gunnis drafted my heir apparent to sit in this chair, I would love it. I would get the kid coffee. Rub his feet. Because do you think I like the fact that if I'm not available for the show, there's no show? There's no number 2. So Aaron, yeah, what the hell's your problem? And I'll say that again. It's not that he's wrong. It's not a wrong way to think. I just don't think that way. Because it's funny how this is coming up. Synchronicities. Henry Burris, Hall of Fame quarterback in the Canadian Football League, currently the offensive coordinator at Florida A&M. I've been talking with him all day via text because his name has come up with a vacant Ottawa head coaching job in the CFL. Henry didn't like to be challenged. He didn't like a number 2 or a 1B even. And his successor, Darian Durant, didn't either. So it's just the way some guys are. It's not the way I am. We don't make comments about people's appearance. Jeff, the Stamps fan. I'm only speaking for me. You can make your comments about people's appearance all you want. Allie from Texarkana writes in. She says, ugh, stupid football. I get it, Allie, but we try to spread it all around. I've had somebody ask me recently to get back into play-by-play, but it would only be with one team. And I did that for so long. I'm like, I want to work with all the teams. I want to work with all the sports. I love it. I like being with my football guys. I like dabbling in baseball. And I really love my hockey guys. So, yeah, that's what's great about this buffet. We are the Golden Corral of sports. I'm not sure we've mentioned that since we've been on the air in Nevada every day. But we are the Golden Corral of sports. We're a buffet. Take a little bit of what you want. Or a lot of whatever you want. But we have a little something for everybody. Jeff in Toronto says, all the quarterbacks are like that. Didn't Tom Brady demand Jimmy G get traded? Brett Favre was like that. They're not all like that. Who the hell was I was talking to a TV analyst in the NHL on the phone the other night, who, when he played in the NHL, his successor was drafted in the NHL, and he mentored the kid. And somebody said to him, I'm not going to say who it is. I'd love to say who it is, but I don't want to broach his confidence. But somebody said, aren't you afraid of him taking your job? He goes, if he's going to take my job, then it's time for me to go. So that's the other way to look at it, but maybe that's just a hockey thing. I don't know. We're going to talk about it all with a guy that can talk about it all, Jersey Jim, when we come back. Still waiting for the proper guess where he's from. Jersey Jim will be with us for some NFL, NHL, college football chat when we return. We're live on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada and Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show on a Monday. I love everybody's mood today. I love it a lot. And I'm sure Jim Biringer, Jersey Jim, is going to bring the sizzle too from NHL Full Press and NHLRumors.com. He's just a bouncy ray of sunshine kind of guy. How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing well, Rod. How are you?
Good, good, good. I love what you bring to the table, and that is the fact that you can speak on a variety of topics. I was telling the viewers earlier, I don't know if you were watching, when you came and stayed with me, I realized how hard you worked. Allie from Texarkana says you never sleep. Do you sleep, Jim?
I try to sleep. Yeah, I appreciate the kind words, everybody. Yeah, I try to sleep. I got to get my sleep, let's be honest here, or else I can't be this perky and have all this energy.
And break all the stories and talk about all the scoops. So enough about all that. We got a lot to get to with Jersey Jim from NHL Full Press and NHLRumors.com. Let me start with the NFL because it's the biggest league on the continent. You and I kind of had that fun talk about who would have more wins, the Giants or Jets in the New York. Right? You're laughing already. And we thought for sure it was a slam dunk. It would be the Giants. And all of a sudden, here come the Jets. Everybody's getting hurt from the Giants. They're getting screwed by the refs. Give me a New York football report today.
Yeah. New York football report is, look, Giant fans and the Giants themselves are not happy with the officiating in Philadelphia against the Birds. Look, I know Philadelphia was going to come out and probably shellac the Giants anyway, but it was a close game. I mean, look, I was always been on the side of, hey, got to keep the tush push in the game because it's part of the game. Well, if you can't officiate it right, I have a feeling it's gone next year because we're seeing fumbles get called back because of forward progress, breaking planes. Come on, we got to officiate this game right. Giants not happy. Cam Scatterbo gets hurt, and, feels like the season's over. All the energy those young guys brought to the Giants feels like it's down the drain right now. And meanwhile, over in the Jets land, look, good for them. Get a big win in Cincinnati. Prayers out to the Mangold family. Terrible news that happened on Sunday right before the game. They win one for the ultimate Jet and Nick Mangold. Feels like, right now, Jets get another one. Both teams are 2 wins, and then we'll find out who gets more wins down the rest of the season. It feels like the Giants should have more wins than they do, though, because they gave some games away. Dallas, New Orleans, Denver. So they probably should still be in the lead by a large margin. But I think the Giants edge them out, but it's probably going to be like 1 or 2 wins if they do it.
I never had the chance to introduce you to my friend Chris from the Bronx when you were here. He is the biggest Giants fan that I know, but he's up and down like a toilet seat, man. I'm like, with emotions from this Giants football team. Before we move on, can I at least say this? At least Brian Daboll's not coaching for his job anymore. They obviously believe in him and they have a future. I'm not sure the Jets do.
No, I mean, I don't think Aaron Glenn's going to get fired after the first season because they just brought him in. But then again, that's Woody Johnson. He really doesn't know what he was doing. The Jets were actually doing okay when he was Ambassador Johnson during, the president's first term of office before he came back again. And we're not going to go down that road. But he was away from the team, and the team was good. Now he's back with the team, Woody Johnson, and the team's not good. So I have 1-1, I think equals 2 here. So I think Woody Johnson needs to go away for a little bit. Giants have a bright future ahead. I think Daboll's safe for now, unless Mara's like, no. But I think you're seeing it. He picked Jackson Dart. He wanted Jackson Dart. And look, I've been like this as a Giants fan for a long time. Before we went to 17 games, I was like 8-8 every year. And if they win a Super Bowl, great. If they don't, I'm not going to put too many high expectations on this team. But I like what the young guys are bringing to the table.
Viewers are dying to talk hockey with you, Jimmy. And I was saying earlier, I'm leaving. Actually, this is when I got home from the Panthers and the Golden Knights, and I flip open my Cats and Rats post-game show, and you're on it. I'm like, that. When she said you don't sleep, I'm like, I don't think he does. But Paul Maurice said after that game Saturday night that he thinks Jack Eichel might be the best player in the NHL. And I think he was suffering from recency bias for president. I'm like, did you forget what McDavid did in the last 2 Stanley Cup finals? But at least it's a discussion. And that's our poll question today. Who's the best player in the NHL? McDavid, Eichel, McKinnon, or other? There's people from Toronto writing in, obviously saying Austin Matthews. But who do you believe right now is the best player in the NHL?
Best player in the NHL to me still is Connor McDavid. I think Jack Eichel is probably one of the best centers right now in the league. Like, he's got the most points. He got more points than McDavid. Do I think he's better than McDavid? No. I think Eichel is doing what he has to do with Vegas. Really good Vegas team, but I still think McDavid is the best player in the NHL. But I think if you could put a player in other, I would say still Sidney Crosby could be in that category as the fourth in that, because I just love what he was doing with Pittsburgh right now. He's the ageless wonder. Him and Malkin are turning back the clocks recently with the Penguins. So you never can count out Crosby and those guys out. But right now, to me, McDavid, I know his point totals aren't there. His goal totals aren't there. I know Eichel, recency bias, what he does. Everybody likes to look at stats. But if we're going to say best player, it's still Connor McDavid.
I agree. And I'm sure Paul Maurice, if you gave him a cup of coffee, he would say the same thing. But what's similar about those guys is you do have a tendency to just stand there and watch them.
Yeah.
Because they're mesmerizing. They're mesmerizing with their skill. Not that Sidney isn't, but you're not going to see Eichel digging in the corner. You're not usually going to see McDavid digging in the corner. You're going to see Sid doing that. But that's just the way they all play differently, which is what's so exciting about that. Now, another thing about Jersey Jim, everybody, from NHLrumors.com and NHL Full Press, which, by the way, I didn't realize it would help you a lot, Jim, if people went to those sites and signed up for subscriptions. They're not expensive, but it would help you out a lot, right?
I appreciate that. No, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, please sign up and follow along because you'll stay informed when those things come out because you'll be on top of the game before everybody else.
Yeah, Jersey Jim, I was amazed at how hard you work, man. So bravo.
Appreciate that.
You do a great job. So you were first on the Jacob Markstrom to New Jersey thing 2 years ago, right? I remember giving you kudos to that for that. And it seems to have worked out pretty good with the Devils. They're the number one team in the NHL today. When do the Flames start trading again? When do they raise the white flag?
I think I got to give it to the 20-game mark. I'm going to be honest. But I feel like, look, we talked about it last year with the Rangers. I'm going to bring this comparison in this analogy. There's a lot of off-ice distractions last year with the New York Rangers in that locker room. And I know, look, we'll go back to Connor McDavid, what he says. Being professional, if we can't keep that out of the room, what are we doing here? Like, why are we playing this game? It feels like the Flames have too many distractions in their locker room. Talk to some people, and no one likes what Michael Backlund said before the season started about, hey, we know Rasmus Anderson's getting traded. Not sure you should be saying that before your season even begins. I think we all know it. It's the thing you don't say. Right? It's a secret thing. We all know it, but we're not going to say it out loud. And I think Nazem Kadri's name continues to be out there as well. So they're dealing with those distractions. How do we balance? We got 96 points last year. We were right near the playoffs. We want to be competitive, but we're struggling with offense. They finally put up 5 goals the other night against the Rangers, who are, again, not a playoff team. If anybody thought Mike Sullivan was going to help them out, no. But I think we got to give it to the 20-game mark, and then we're going to have to see where this team stands in the conference, And look, I think the best thing that would happen, even though I would like to see them in the playoffs, I think they need a top pick in Calgary. I think they need like a Gavin McKenna type player that can drive the offense. We're seeing what happens in San Jose. All these up and coming teams have a player like that. That would be best for Calgary. And I think 20 games is where we're going to start seeing them maybe wave the white flag. It all depends on the record.
Well, I don't know what you're hearing in New Jersey, but I've seen in Calgary with my own eyes, and I got a lot of great friends on the team and within the organization. So what's going on with Rasmus Andersson, as bad as it is, I don't think affects their lack of offense. Like the culture they're building there is, if you don't want to be here, we don't want you here. Because for the last 20 years, people didn't want to be there. As recently as Matthew Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau, let's be honest, Markstrom, right? So this is kind of like biting the bullet in a way, because I still think they're going in the right direction. I do.
Yeah, I like what they're doing. I like what Craig Conroy is building. But again, that's a situation with Rasmus Andersson. Either you get him extended or we figure out a trade partner. And it probably should have been done before the beginning of the season, in my opinion. Because, it was lingering. He was getting questions about it last year. Okay, we want to take the offseason and figure some things out. He wants to have a better season. But at some point, everybody needs a right shot defenseman. He's put up a couple of goals now. The offense is struggling. Again, we need to see more from Huberdeau. We need to see more from Matt Coronado, who just signed big extensions, Sharon Govich. We've seen Dustin Wolf commit. The culture is there. The narrative is changing in Calgary about guys wanting to stay there. Does Rasmus Andersson want to stay there? If he does, then we need an extension. If he doesn't, then we have to figure out a way where we can trade him.
I'm with you on would have been nice to have it done and dealt with in the summer, but I'm sure Craig Conroy tried. Like, you're a huge fan of Craig Conroy, are you not?
Oh, I love Craig Conroy. I love what he's done, the deals that he made, especially all that year with Toffoli, moving out, Elias Lindholm that year, all those guys, Nikita Zadorov, all those guys got moved out, and the team played better. Now we got to figure out who else is going out and try to turn this thing around in Calgary, because they want to have something special in place when they open a new building.
Yeah. Allie in Texarkana writes, and she says, I totally agree with Jim on Crosby. Sid will always be a legend in my book, and he will never play anywhere else but Pittsburgh. But I think Evgeny Malkin will be playing somewhere else next year. For a fun topic, let me ask you this. Coach's hot seat. For whatever reason, they love to talk about it in football. They don't love to talk about it in hockey. But can we ask who will be the first coach fired in the NHL? Would you be interested in broaching that?
I don't have a problem with the hot seat talk. I mean, I do it all the time in college football. We've talked about I was on the James Franklin train for years. I mean, James Franklin should have been out of Penn State, and he finally was. Same with Brian Kelly, it just happened yesterday. Not surprising. If we look around the league, I mean, it is early, but none of the guys that signed extensions, and John Cooper's not going anywhere. For anybody who thought John Cooper's going to get fired, not happening. They'll turn it around. Not to mention he coaches a team named Team Canada Olympics. Like, I don't think that would be such a good look. But if I look around, I think you're going to have to figure out what the situation is in Buffalo. Lindy Ruff's a lame duck coach. Do they bring in a guy like Pete DeBoer they're turning some things around right now. Excuse me. And if you look at it, he's a lame duck coach. He doesn't have another contract. Is that the type of coach that they need to bring those young guys, those players on D? The foundation is there. Is that maybe they try to make the move early, especially if they're out of it, if they tail off again? Because right now they're in the mix. It's still early. But a place like Buffalo, to me, I've always circled it because I've never been a fan of the hire of Lindy Ruff, because I was like, it's only 2 years. What can he accomplish in 2 years that we haven't seen other coaches do? And again, I'm still not bought in fully into the Buffalo Sabres. So that's a place to me I'm looking. If I try to think other places around the league, Boston's not going to do anything. They just hired Marco Sturm. St. Louis is really not going to do anything. I think the big one right now is Buffalo, because I think everybody either is new, signed extensions, and they want us to have feelers out there.
Well, it's just funny. I'm smiling because I think of how early it is. And I want to slap myself for having these discussions right now, because when they hired Lindy Ruff, I was exactly the same as you. I'm like, you can't go back. I mean, what is this, Billy Martin? And in my mind, I thought about Allie's Dallas Stars here. Glenn Gulletson going back. They are 12th overall in the NHL at 5-3-1, the Dallas Stars. But it's like have you ever stopped to think maybe we're rushing to too many judgments here? It's a little early, Jim. Do you ever, is that ring in your mind ever?
Yeah, it always does. I mean, look, I'll say this. I think my prediction early when Mike Sullivan was hired in New York, I was not a fan of it. And it's clear that the defensive issues in New York need to change. It feels like it's the same defensive issues that were in Pittsburgh. And look what Pittsburgh did. They decided to move on from Mike Sullivan. Dan Muse comes in. The defense is a lot better than it was. Guys are buying in a new voice. I think there's a lot of things that need to change in that Ranger locker room, and the players that have been put together, and the general manager. But the general manager's not going anywhere because they just gave him an extension. So they're going to have to ride it out. It is early. We do have to pump the brakes because sometimes it is overreaction, because the Sabres figured out something. Maybe the Flames figure out something too. Way too early. That's why I say 20, 25 games. We'll know a team by 20, 25 games.
Well, Bomber Boy writes in, he says, Blues coach too. What's old is new again. But Jim Montgomery had never coached in St. Louis before. So I'm talking about going back to your old team. That's what we're talking about with Lindy Ruff, Billy Martin, Glenn Gulletson. I know guys, coaches are hired to be fired. Jim Montgomery was going to coach summer. Shoot, he was the coach of the year, right? And then gets fired the next year.
And it wasn't his fault in Boston. It wasn't his fault in Boston, by the way. It's clear. It's clear as day that roster is just poorly constructed.
Very clear. And the same thing with the Rangers. You said something needs to change in the dressing room. What more could they change, Jim? They got rid of Trouba, Kreider, fired the coach.
I mean, Panarin still need Panarin. He may join somebody, maybe join one of his buddies, Zibanejad. at some point, there's got to be other moves that can be made. And I was not a fan of Chris Drury getting the extension because I said, what did he do to make the team better? He didn't.
Yeah. Do me a favor, please, between now and the next time we talk. See what you're hearing about Bob. Because
yes,
the
I
other
will.
night in the
Absolutely.
press box, well, just he's the biggest name coming up in free agency. He has to be, isn't he?
Him and Panarin are two. Tuch, Kempe, but the belief is Tuch and Kempe will re-sign with their respective clubs. So that leaves Bob and it leaves Panarin, the two guys that were top free agents 7 years ago.
I know. Well, the thing is with Bob, just talking to the people here, I'm like, there's no way he could possibly leave. And just some of the pundits in the press box, hockey guys, like, well, more is more. It's not like he's going to sign any less to stay in Florida. Okay, he's already making 10. So maybe he could get 12 or 13 somewhere else because let's be honest, he is the best goalie in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely take a look at it but before next time, but my opinion on it is if it's either Florida or it's retiring. I just don't see him going anyplace else. I think the system fits him perfectly in Florida and everything that's going on in Florida. But I'm going to definitely look into that for you for next time we talk.
Thanks, Jimmy. He seems so happy here, but we all do. Oh, by the way, do you even have – what do you want to talk about, World Series or college football? I don't even know if you're following baseball anymore since the Yankees are out. Your elbow's deep in college football right now.
I mean, we could hit both if we got time.
Let her rip.
All right.
2 minutes.
World
Wait, 2 minutes.
I got 2 minutes. Here we go. World Series, Dodgers and Jays. First two games have been great. Throwback in game 2 to Yamamoto and Gausman pitching duo. Love to see it. I know a lot of people want to see home runs. I think whoever can break open an inning in game 3, like the Jays did it in game 1 and the Dodgers did it in game 2, whoever can break it open late is going to win the game. I still give the edge to the Dodgers, though. I just think they have too much, and their starting pitching is going to get better, and so is Ohtani. As far as college football goes, no surprise, Brian Kelly out at LSU. You cannot give up 35 straight points in the second half and get blown out at home in Death Valley when you promised national championships, and you didn't even sniff the playoff in 4 years. Hate to see guys go, but I never liked the move for him going down to LSU. Thought he should have stayed at Notre Dame. And now they got to go find a new coach because apparently Ed Ogeron wasn't good enough when they brought him a national championship with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Nice work, my dude. Nice work. Well, James Franklin doesn't think he should have been fired at Penn State. Just maybe you saw his interview on ESPN.
Yeah, they both have.
I'm like, why are you?
They both have losing records.
I'm like, why are you giving him a microphone? Yeah, exactly.
That's what I said.
Jersey Jim, whatever your setup you got going, you look great. The sound is amazing on that microphone. So, and the lighting's perfect. So let's do it again soon and do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Jimmy. Great job. Everybody sign up at NHL Full Press and NHLRumors.com. That's where Jimmy does his thing, and he does it better than everybody else. See you next time, brother.
Peace out.
All right, Jim Biringer from Jersey. Spoiling the surprise, that's where he's from. Jersey Jim from New Jersey. Sports update coming up in Viewer Takeover. We're live across Nevada, Silver State Sports Entertainment Network, and Game Plus.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers, Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Back at it here on Game Plus TV and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, brought to you in part by Ultimate Fan Zone. They bring you our sports updates, which we'll get to in a second. Does your message stand out? At Outlaw Communications, we make sure it does. Tony Plater brings 35 years of communication and leadership expertise, from media training and leadership coaching to strategic crisis planning and compelling content. He'll help you lead with confidence. Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. Okay, here we go with a sports update for Ultimate Fan Zone. Toronto Blue Jay star Bo Bichette returns to the starting lineup and second base tonight as the World Series shifts to Dodger Stadium for the next 3 games. LA and Toronto tied 1-1 after splitting the opening 2 in Toronto. Veteran Max Scherzer starts for the Jays opposite Dodgers righty Tyler Glasnow. The Jays out-hit him in Game 1. The Dodgers out-pitched him in Game 2. What's going to happen tonight? 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Just 2 games on the NHL slate tonight, and one's in the Canada nation capital. The Ottawa Senators welcome the Boston Bruins as they look to stretch their win streak to 3. Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Penguins entertain the slumping St. Louis Blues, losers of 2 straight. For the purposes of a lack of anybody else, the Toronto Raptors will be our NBA show. That's cool on Game Plus. They're out of Toronto. Nevada, they don't have a team. The Toronto Raptors look to even their record at 2-2 tonight when they visit the unbeaten San Antonio Spurs in one of 11 games on the NBA slate. After an opening win in Atlanta, the Raptors are suffering from 2 straight losses, including a 139-129 loss to Dallas Sunday night. Spurs phenom Victor Wembanyama has scored 100 points through 3 games, powering San Antonio to their first 3-0 start since 2020. The Kansas City Chiefs look to climb above 500 when they entertain the Washington Commanders on Monday Night Football. Dun, 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 dun. Kansas City shut out Las Vegas 31-0 in Week 7. Sorry for the reminder. Washington was thumped 44-22 by Dallas. Did I mention that was basically Marcus Mariota's game, and the way the Cowboys were celebrating after that disgusted me? And then they went into Denver and got motorboated. But that's a Cowboys thing. I've detached. CFL note for those that observe. The 2027 Grey Cup, the CFL championship game, has been awarded to Saskatchewan, my home province. That is your sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store Moose Jaw. Get your game day gear in store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. And I do appreciate all those that have stopped in there and said hey to Billy and dropped some cash. From the text line, 902-518-3033 is the number to reach us here. Only during show hours, 902-518-3033. Kirk is watching and says, hey, Rod, is it true that your Panthers are playing in front of many empty seats? Kirk, for whatever reason, you woke up today and chose violence, because your earlier text today asked me about the Cowboys. So you're just trying to get my goat, and I'm not going to let you have it. So as far as the Florida Panthers go, I was at the game the other night. It was full. They sell out 19,500 every game. The Florida Panthers playing in an empty rink is so 2015. So if you want to troll about something, can you find something a little more current, please? Everybody's, not surprisingly, you're from Toronto. It seems like this whole anti-Florida Panthers fan base thing is always coming out of Toronto for some reason, whether it's the media or fans like you. Can you move past it? Just find something else. I'll be happy to engage with you, but not on something that's 10 years old. You dig? On the Nazem Kadri trade piece out of Calgary, Ron in Calgary writes in, he says, Kadri will be traded if he doesn't want to be in Calgary. He has a no trade clause. Has to be the perfect fit for both teams. Oh, by the way, who says Kadri wants out? Nobody says he wants out. What are you... Let's not take a turn to negative town. Let's not take the off ramp, okay? I'm the mayor of positive town. I don't want to go to negative town. The Flames are sucking. Kadri's a trade piece, and a lot of guys will waive their no trade clause. Don't get concerned about that. That's my take on that. Let's keep it positive, people, with one segment to go. We'll be right back with overtime, okay? 902-518-3033 is the number to reach me right here in the studio. We are live across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Also, Game Plus TV across Canada and 32 U.S. states. YouTube Live podcast and 1700 Mission Radio.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your Rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Okay, welcome back, everybody, for Overtime. It's been a fun show, hasn't it? Despite viewers' efforts to derail that. Overtime is brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes. If you're looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot, Overtime Hockey Lanes is the place to go. State-of-the-art shooting lanes, all the latest equipment and technology. Trust me, I go there every time in Calgary. I can attest. Vouch. 28th Street, Northeast Calgary. Look up Randy and Michelle. Tell them the RP show sent you. Check out their website at overtimehl.ca. You don't got to take my word for it. As I say, the viewers have been punchy and fun. Jersey Jim, always a popular guest, which I'll get to that in a second. Talking about Brian. Rich in Edmonton is referring to Brian Kelly getting fired at LSU. He says, Brian Kelly and his fake Cajun accent. What a clown. I think coaching in the SEC would be no picnic. As a matter of fact, Jeff in Toronto referring to that. He goes, can't feel bad when these guys get $50 million payouts. Right? Now, I can't really imagine either. It's a topic that we could go far deeper on. Jim Barker here on Friday, if you were watching, I said, what's the pressure on Dave Roberts, the skipper of the Dodgers, when you have a $509 million payroll? He's like, even the coaches and managers get paid so much. The pressure is not the same anymore. We all have pressure when you got to get out of bed every day and pay your bills, right? These guys don't have that pressure. So I don't know what it's like to get a $50 million payout. I don't. But I still think there would be some pressure there. But, I was talking to Mark Trestman about this last week on the phone. You saw him on here on Thursday, the former Chicago Bears head coach. He said the pressure nowadays is ruining guys. And I'm going to tell you, I am not going to name any names at all. Although the name Ed Orgeron came up earlier, the former LSU coach. It didn't ruin Ed, but I know his family. I'm close with not Ed, but his family, the former Tigers coach, national champion LSU Tigers coach. He got fired, took his payout. Bye. Came to Florida. Nobody's heard from him since. Ed's doing fine. But there are other coaches in the NFL. Let's just remember that Florida is a haven for sports people, both current and past. And now this is getting real fun. But Trestman was talking about some coaches that are down here that have got their tens of millions of dollars payout, never need to work again, and won't. They're like, why? Bye. Why Belichick's still working? Makes no sense to me. Or Pete Carroll, other than straight love of the game, but they're definitely not doing it for money. But somebody said to me the other day, I was at the Panthers game, and they're like, hey, Mike Tyson lives in Florida. You should get him on your show. I'll get right on that. Dave, I wouldn't even know where to begin to get a hold of Mike Tyson. And I feel like everybody would be trying to get Mike Tyson on their show. I don't know. I said to the guy, I had Ricky Williams on. He's like, how'd you get Ricky Williams? I said, because he was promoting his new weed brand. Yeah. David, number 1 in Winnipeg, says, love me some Jersey Jim. Good luck tonight to the Blue Jays. John says, Florida or retiring? Isn't that the same? Not for me. I came here and started all over. It's been amazing. It was not retiring. And as much as I'd like to, as my advisor, Lisa, said, she's like, you're never going to retire, so stop thinking about that. Not that you always will have to work, but you like it. Yeah, that's true. Scott in Toronto writes in, he says, quit your cornholing. Sorry, cornheisering. DG in Saskatoon writes in, he says, time to give former rider Eric Morris credit for the job he's doing as head coach of North Texas. His quarterback threw for 608 yards on Saturday. Good for you, DG in Saskatoon, for pointing that out. See, this overtime segment is a lot of fun where you all bring me the heat. On that CFL thing, Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, wow, the 2027 Grey Cup will be played November 7th. They keep moving on up. This is the date of the Grey Cup, like George and Wheezy. There's a lot of CFL power brokers that would like to move it way up further even than that, like the start of October. We'll see how it goes. I'm just sitting back enjoying watching. Regarding the fun question, where's Jersey Jim from? Allie joined us late. She goes, isn't it obvious where Jim is from? LOL. When I entered, where was I? Here? Where the hell was? Somewhere. I introduced Jersey Jim to my friend Mydale Mike, the landman. I said, you'll never guess where Jim's from. And Mydale Mike goes, Kansas? And it just became a thing. But Jersey Jim is a brand. Brent in Wellington, Florida says, finish that line. Okay. Moving on up to the east side. Is that what you're talking about? The theme from the Jeffersons? Oh, don't get me going on this. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, earlier CFL season means competing with the NHL playoffs. Good luck with that. I'm out on that as well. I'm out on that because I feel like there is no competition. People are going to watch. Give them a reason to watch. You know, absolutely nobody's talking about the World Series in my circle. I mean, nobody. You're not talking about it on ESPN. I don't hear about it on the radio. But we're all watching. We will all be watching. Competing against Monday Night Football. I don't get the mentality. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm like, if you want to move the season up, put some compelling play on the field and introduce us to the players, and we'll want to watch. Who cares about what it's up against? But that's just me. Okay. See you tomorrow, everybody.
That.